good morning, for instance. Welcome, sorry, cap. So we did on ciao, for instance, good morning in Thai. Um, Welcome, my name is Peter James. What's it called? I'm True Blue Thai, for instance. Mancunian, living in Thailand, for instance. I've been here for about a few years now. For instance, and I do previews and reviews of my favourite club, which I mentioned very much, for instance, of each game. And I will talk about the game about yesterday, which I saw this morning in Thai time, etc. I think it started midnight 30 for me. Thank you very much. I think we've got the Brentford game. That's another game, for instance, that's going to start early as well, for instance, for me. So yeah, that's going to be fun as well. That's it. Yeah, so when I say early, I mean that's going to be 2:30 in the morning. So yeah, it's not for at all. The thing is, my lady she gets up at 6:30. So by the time it's finished, we're talking about 5:30, 6 o'clock. So by the time I get home, exactly, so I better get to sleep, etc. It's like I'm like, oh my god, why do you do this to me, City? Why we keep it on? My can't we have these 12:30 kickoffs, which I like very much. So yeah. Anyway, so the neighbours are up. For instance, one of the young girls' birthday today, for instance, yeah. So Thais are not the quietest people in the world. They really ain't, and they make a lot of noise. So let me see. Um, yeah, so for instance, but we live in their country. This is their area, for instance, and I've just got to either like it or lump it. I'd rather stay here in this Thai area than in a condominium, put it that way, for instance. Floor 199, etc. Paying 4, 5, 6, 7 times as much to say in a condominium, which you spend. The thing is, what I would call Thailand's like a 60-40 place. If I was in a house in England or in Spain or whatever, or not Spain, in America, for instance, or in Scandinavia, for instance, where it's colder, you go. For instance, you're in your, for instance, your house most of the time, for instance, because you know. But in Thailand, etc., you're out of the place, you're out of your home, for instance. The moment the sun comes up, etc., the doors are opened up, and we've got mosquito door on both front and back, for instance, and basically spending most of the time, you spend most of the time outside. So what's the point of spending so much money on a condominium if you're going to spend most of the time sat outside on the sidewalk at with a street vendor? When you've got a perfectly good kitchen, for instance, at home, because this is what you do, for instance. So I really don't see the point of condominiums. I really don't. I just think the shoeboxes in the sky. They got grand, fantastic views, but you're so high up. In here I can just go out and see the. I can't. I can see the sun. I can just go straight out and see the sun. I don't. I just what looking at one view. I can be param. I'm on the ground floor, for instance. It will take me. I'm just around the corner from the highway, for instance. And yeah. So I'd rather live here and pay the money you pay here, and put up with what I have to put up with, for instance, live music and motorbikes, because these are Thai people, for instance, this is what they do. And for instance, but apart from that, we talk about the pros and cons. Money's best in your pocket. Anyway, so but I'm not here to talk about that. For instance, I'm more asking to any question about Thailand. For instance, I've been here for a few years now. For instance, so we're still in high season. For instance, we had a rain shower yesterday. That was a bit strange. I kind of no, I didn't really. I normally understand. I know about when the rain's coming. And I was at the beach yesterday, for instance. I was doing my yoga, for instance, and I was doing a nice ab workout. And for instance, and I got a blip, blip, blip on my face, whatever, a drop of water, rain. So I just continued, but because I don't mind it at all, because if you get wet, fine, it's fine, whatever. I don't mind it at all. Roads get slippy, places get slippy, so you've got to watch out for that. But other than that, for instance, it's nice, a nice cool shower, for instance. So I don't mind if it rains. Anyway, so for instance, but when it rains in Thailand, everything's opened up and it rained, and it was a bit unexpected, really. The only thing is, when you put out your clothes for drying, it takes forever a day for them to dry. So again, because you're an outside, you put everything outside. You don't need to have dryers. Have you have I noticed they have dryers in condominiums. What's and like You have the stand. The stand dries your clothes, and I'd rather have it in air dry than what you've got over in a in a condominium. Again, are you paying for what? It's just again, it's nonsense. Anyway, so but again, I'm not here to talk about Thailand, for instance. But even though I am, we'll talk about the game. So, for instance, and I do apologise. I'm just because I feel I haven't much sleep. Um, so, Manchester City against Chelsea. So the first match at Chelsea was a 4-4. For instance, we played lousy. For instance, we had made too many mistakes. Gave Chelsea, who weren't not in a good position, at that time, what's it called, not in a good frame of mind at that time, and the way they were, for instance, they come along and they gave us a game, and Sterling played whatever, a blinder and everything. So, for instance, and he did Cal Walker, for instance, and Cole Palmer got a late goal, for instance, late penalty, which, anyway, so, for instance, so what's I expecting a, a, a game in return? No, the answer is no. And the reason why I'm saying that is not about me being a biased blue, because I think when I talk about blues and listen, we're kind of realists. We're not like United fans or Liverpool fans, and even Arsenal fans who also think you're going to win just because you're who you are. For instance, we're kind of realists, and as a when you're looking at current form, yes, they won the last two games coming into it, but they didn't actually win it convincingly. They've been inconsistent throughout the season, for instance, and it must be. And sometimes you think, well, is Pochettino going to stay or go? For instance, in the season, does he deserve it? Has he been found out as a coach? So, for instance, overall, I thought, for instance, they were quite what we call, for instance, going into the game, it should have been a convincing Manchester City win, because you never know what you're going to get with Chelsea, for instance. And if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be sat here scratching my hair out, thinking, pulling my hair out, thinking, well, why the hell do we play like that all week? And big up to Chelsea, they play well. Okay, so but why can't they be like that throughout the entire, for instance, week, for instance, season? Sorry, for instance, did it deserve a point? Yes. Did it deserve more? I think overall the chances are they had more shots on goal than City, for instance. But I don't think overall they deserve to win. To win the game. 1-1 probably with a fair result. But as I said, like if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be sat there going, "How come we can't do that all week? How come why are we in this position? How come we only got 50 or 35 points and we can do that?" It must be absolutely frustrating for a Chelsea fan, but since we've gone in, we had the pressure on us. We played midweek. We're the only team who played midweek, for instance, and we went off and we controlled that game and got the 3-1 win, etc. For instance, which set us up perfectly for the return leg. It's sandwiched between Liverpool and United, and so for instance, yeah, it was. Again, this is the Premier League, and there's no easy games in the Premier League. And I look at the fixtures yesterday, and you could say that Liverpool and Arsenal, for instance, but this is what you expect for them to do, to go out and win. But you look at teams like Newcastle, who lost. West Ham lost again. Spurs lost at home. You never expected that. Wolves at the beginning of the season, for instance, they were one of the favourites to go down. So, for instance, and this manager's come in and worked wonders. So, for instance, and they could be crack top 10 soon. I think the 11th at the moment. So well done to them. So you can't walk into any game thinking that's an automatic. So, for instance, I think we walked in thinking, but with the inconsistency of Chelsea and the way Liverpool dispatched Chelsea, I thought Man City were getting a lot more confidence to do the same. Whether players were tired, not going to say that, but whether conditions helped, didn't help Chelsea, or didn't help Man City, I don't know. It's rain, for instance, you can't really say that. Um, the refereeing decisions, well, we looked at the referee and you all sit there and think, oh God, I hope the referee doesn't make a mess of the game. And some of his decision, Caicedo deserved to go off, to be sent off. Yes, I think he definitely deserved a second yellow for his challenges on Doku and for instance De Bruyne, etc. So yes, he deserved. I think he deserved a second yellow. so to go off. For instance, some of the handball decisions, the VAR decisions, didn't get one of them. Again, for instance, some of them. The last one was a little bit more because he did definitely put it with his hand, pushed it with his arm. Was it? It was a slight push. So, for instance, when I looked at the other decisions and I thought, not really. I really can't say. Some City fans will probably slate me on it, but I don't think they were clear and obvious. So yeah, but and so yeah. So for instance, overall, did we deserve to win? No. Yeah, overall, the grand scheme, I thought Chelsea played well. They played, they did what they did. Man City's getting slated because of the defence, because we're conceding, but we're conceding because we're pushing up and we're pushing our first balls back up, and you're getting people, for instance, like what happened at Brentford, at Everton, and who are watching Man City play and thinking we can get the ball, knock the ball over, and when you got the likes of Cole Palmer and Sterling, etc., for instance, who can what you call it, run, with the ball, for instance, fast wingers, etc. For instance, we're going to have a problem, and yesterday proved so. So what's it called? But it's the way we play, for instance, and yeah. Um, so I am looking at the goal, for instance, between Sterling and Walker. For instance, could Walker have done better? Again, it's one of these 50-50 things. You could say yes, maybe a little bit more. We want to be too critical. But again, it could be a one-on-one, for instance, overall. I thought, up to the goal, for instance, I thought the defence was playing well. I thought that they had chances, but I thought Aki were playing, it was well. Diaz looked very strong, back to his best now since he's dumped his girlfriend, for instance. And yeah, and I didn't really have too much issues. I know we were giving the ball away, for instance, but I thought we defence did play well. So, for instance, but we weren't. I didn't think we were creating too much, and for instance, and I thought the creative players were kind of subdued a little bit. Kind of Gallagher for them, for instance, sat on Rodri, for instance, but and he stopped that. I thought Kevin De Bruyne, for instance, and Foden, for instance, weren't effective enough, and in the for instance, and not having their best games or the way the standard level which I expected them to be. You could put that to Chelsea, how they set. For instance, and I think, for instance, if I was going to be critical of Manchester City, it'd probably be Doku. For instance, and the reason why I'm not going to be critical of Doku because I think he had a lot of the ball, but his decision makers wasn't perfect. And because his decision making wasn't perfect, it didn't give Manchester City, for instance, the advantage that we should have done. We, you know, and we, yeah, he's. I would have. Well, me personally, I would have swapped him for Oscar Bob. I thought, for instance, bringing in Bernardo Silva. I think towards the end of the game, Bernardo Silva came over to help him, to support him. And I thought, for instance, that was a good idea, for instance, because when Bernardo came on, he made a difference. Like that, for instance, he can. Was it didn't make a difference? He can make a difference, and I thought we're coming over to support him and show him how to do things. Uh, um, for instance, Doku, for instance, is going to be great for City. But he's still young in his way, and I think he's still, for instance, in his development, for instance, and his end product, etc., was not great. So I'm a little bit disappointed with City, for instance, with Doku for that. Um, so just disappointed with City because of that. Um, so overall, he had, I saw him having a lot of the ball. He was either going down the wing and crossing. He was either basically, for instance, tracking back. He was basically, for instance, he wasn't. And when he does get the ball get passed over. It was not going to a City player. It was going into the box. And I think I've said this before in a previous video. And he was going down the byline and cross it. Yeah, yeah. Well, he did, but he didn't do it in the way that I wanted him to do it. So, for instance, and yeah, so I think, for instance, I'm a little bit disappointed in Doku's finishing. Sorry, his final product. And I thought Oscar Bob's just coming over, just give us something different. A mature player, for instance, and I thought he would have done better. I just don't know. Okay, do something different. Sometimes I thought Doku, for instance, it didn't feel like he knew he knew the pressure was on him. He knew, but I think, for instance, he was just kind of caught in the headlights a little bit, for instance, and yeah, so I'm a bit disappointed. But I'm not going to blame him too much. For instance, because we're being critical of, we drew the game, and I'm disappointed we drew the game. But I'm disappointed we drew the game because, quite honestly, for instance, points can mean are very important this time of the season. Do I believe, for instance, we can go off and win the Premier League? Absolutely, 110%. I think the other teams can drop points as well. For instance, this season, this no way. And the media's going to have a field day. White and Jordan. I'm sure Goldbridge has had his 2 cents. Gary Neville, I'm sure he's probably going to sit there and talk his crap, for instance. But on Tuesday, we we play the game, for instance. I'm 2 points behind, and then what's it called? We're on 36 points, 1 point behind Liverpool, for instance. Yeah, so and that's the difference. Yeah, Liverpool play Luton the next day. For instance, I don't know what the hell that is. I thought then we're 1 game behind, but again, so Liverpool. So I don't know why Liverpool are playing Tuesday. Um, sorry, Wednesday, for instance. Anyway, but it's like we're still well in this tackle race. We've been here before, done it, bought the t-shirt. If anything, it was going to galvanise the team. For instance, to do better, to be better. Um, yeah, so I believe that, for instance, we will get back. What's it called? We will be in there and thereabouts. I think a lot of City fans are worried because of for instance, after United, then we got Liverpool, then Brighton and Aston Villa, and the all potential banana schemes. But I think Man City, these, I think we can go away and beat these teams. Okay, for instance, because I don't see, for instance, you could, we could, we we know what to expect and we know what to do. And yes, these teams, but I don't think, for instance, they're going to give us any more problems than what Brentford would give us. To tell the truth, and it makes crazy saying that, but you know what to expect. You know what to expect from Brighton. You know what to expect from Liverpool. You know what to expect from United. Well, United, you don't know. Another team, for instance, where you could bang your head on. What's it, 1 minute they're playing well, next minute they're playing crap. So, for instance, another team, for instance, if I was a supporter, I'd be felt cheated. Because you spend all your money, you pay out whatever, you buy your stupid little ugly t-shirts, and then for instance, you get that nonsense. So, for instance, yeah, and just because they won a few, they've got the tails up, etc. It doesn't mean they say they're going to do the same thing each game. But overall, for instance, Erling's coming into a few criticisms. For instance, the big guy, for instance, yeah, and again, for instance, his job is to score goals, and is he the all-round striker at the moment? No, he's still developing. I think there's nonsense to pour somebody. He's still young. He's still young in his development. He's still got a long way to go. That's the reason when if he goes to Real Madrid, Real Madrid could eat him up. And the reason I'm saying that is because there's a massive expectation for him to do it every game. I just like there is there, and he had a fantastic first season, and everybody expects him to do the same thing. Again, this is British way mentality of bringing players up to a massive level so early, thinking that, for instance, all these guys need to do is turn up and he's going to score 5 goals. He's not a complete product. He knows he's not the complete product, for instance, the complete striker, and he needs time. So, for instance, yes, and I think he does need time. So, and I'm not going to slag him off because any of those goals, if he scored a goal, he's back in the newspaper, Erling Haaland on the TV. Oh, you're wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. If he misses the goal, an obvious challenge, whatever. And I don't want to be on that fence, on that kind of, oh, he's either great or crap. I don't do that. I think we've been watching football too long. I think too many people too easy to criticize players because they had a bad game. Sometimes these are small margins, and if he just knocked it down a little bit, the ball would have gone. under the bar rather than over the bar, for instance, from his head, from his header. Is so for instance, but he's and again, for instance, I put it down to the fact that Chelsea played better than what we expected. So yeah, so it was more of a shock more than anything else. So yeah, but it's the way it is. For instance, Liverpool and Arsenal, for instance, they're going to have games where they're going to, on paper, they're going to expect it to win. In reality, because it's the Premier League, the other team will have a good game. The goalkeeper will play a blinder, for instance. The forward will decide to turn up and put his shooting boots on because he's got the TV cameras in front of him. I don't know, for instance, and this is the thing. This is why it's so frustrating. But to sit there and say Man City rather tackle race, I heard some City fans saying that yesterday, which is ludicrous. But I just think, for instance, it was a vital point at the end of the day. For instance, great goal by Rodri, really good, great celebrations. We've been here, done that, bought the T-shirt, okay, on more than one occasion. For instance, but I do believe that, for instance, we've still got it in us to win the game. For instance, and as long as we put things right on Tuesday, then they were back up there, for instance, and you're back in the mix. And yeah, so I think the only thing I actually listened to Jamie Carragher for a minute, which I thought, oh my god, I will listen to this idiot, and I think he said, is it a bad for City? And he said it'll give the other two, Arsenal and Liverpool, a sense of belief that Man City are human, and I think that'll do for me, for instance, because we are human, and it'll give the players a sense of relief, of saying that we can make lose games or draw games or whatever. That we're not going on this massive, because I think this again, the media again. Oh, this is where Man City go off in this fantastic run, and Gary Neville calls us boring to watch, or Simon Jordan will moan about how it's been a Palmer's league. And Pep Guardiola, as says in his press conference, it's very hard to do. Because it was so damn easy, other teams would be damn doing it. So shut up, Goldbridge, uh, Jordan, and Neville, you bitter sods. Stop pulling out your waffle for everybody to say it's easy to go to Common Houghton, what's going and to win, and to think we just need to turn up and that's it, play through whatever. It's not easy. It's difficult to do. And Pep was right. I'm sorry, mate. What's going? You couldn't have done it. Your team couldn't have done it. For instance, and when you were managing and playing in Spain, Neville, for instance, you couldn't get your team to win a couple of games on the bounce. So shut up. And Jordan, you've never done it in your life, so stop throwing your damn stones. And Goldbridge, who the hell are you, mate? Honestly, seriously, just go back to doing your old job before. Honestly, we shit at that as well. But no, for instance, I just think, for instance, we'll go again on Tuesday. I think we've got the confidence to go and to win and to get back in there, and everything's going to be honey, and everything's going to be back on track. And I think there's a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns in this Premier League to come yet. For instance, and we'll see, and I've got every confidence Man City will win the Premier League, and I think we'll go very very far in the FA Cup, and I really don't see, apart from Inter Milan, Real on the day, for instance. But other than that, I'm scratching my head, and for instance, who's going to beat us in the Champions League. So I've got every faith in my confidence in my team, and again, for instance, the injuries, I think it's immaterial too much because every team get injuries. I'd like, say, Pep to play more players. For instance, bring in Oscar Bob. For instance, when Jeremy, for instance, was kind of running out of ideas more than anything else. But other than that, we'll go again on Tuesday, Wednesday morning for me. So I'm going to organise my running routine. For instance, the dogs are out. Some guys are on a half track. Anyway, but I'll catch you again. So enjoy your Sunday. Don't be too disappointed. I ain't. For instance, we've been here before, Man City fans, and I will. go back to doing what I'm doing, and yeah, and I'll speak to you again on Monday. Yeah, Monday. My God, tomorrow. Oh my God, because games on Tuesday. Amazing, you know what I mean? It's, oh, yeah, God, you know, yeah, God, that's so, you know what I mean? Oh, living on the opposite side of the world's not easy, I swear to God, you know, and yes, yes, we have the sunshine, yes, blah, blah, blah. Must go, but for instance, you know, and yeah, you know, it can be a little bit not easy on the eyes. I tell you right now, I look old, and the sun's not making my very look pretty at all. I need to start using sun cream. Okay, then. Okay. So, enjoy your day. Have a good Sunday. When I did in Thai, and I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Bye.